different kinds of herbs and things that you can use for digestion and nerves and all that kind of stuff. So those three healing systems all had a strong presence. But there were three healing systems that these herbalists felt really, really weak in. So we really need everyone here to kind of make a promise that you're going to up your knowledge of these three areas in some little way or some big way. Maybe I'm an expert on this stuff. I can't lose my notes. My God, what would happen then? So the first one was the Polynesian medicine. The medicine of the Hawaiian Islands, the South Pacific Islands, New Zealand. Only 10% knew anything of those healing systems. You know, one famous plant, to give an example too, let me give you two famous plants from that healing system. The first one is a food, which is, you know, the sweet potato, right? That is prevalent throughout that whole culture that they call, I can't remember the name, kamote, I think. And then the herb that's really famous from that healing modality is kava kava. I've already mentioned that once tonight, but that came from that healing system. And then there's many. It's a huge, it's an amazing system because there's 1,000 islands, and they canoed all through the islands, so they spread all this knowledge. So it's deep, and there's a lot to that. So some of us need to go there. I've been to some of it, but there's 1,000 islands, you know. The second area was the Aboriginal medicine from Australia, 60,000-year-old medicine, and we know hardly anything from it. What do we know? What are some herbs from there?
Eucalyptus.
Eucalyptus oil, right? What's another one that we use from there?
Tea tree?
Tea tree oil. So, you know, there's some, but we don't know hardly anything from them, you know? There's so much, and I went there and it was very hard. It's a different story, but that was a very hard culture for me too. You know, if you want to cry over the North American history, then you're going to really feel it with the Aboriginal. They were declared non-existent when the white people landed. They actually had a law or a doctrine that they declared that there was no intelligent life in Australia, basically, and have since then. And you know, just with the current government that just came in last year, would change the whole vibe, and Aboriginal people came into the government houses for the first time in the history of Australia. So all over the world, things are happening. Take note and take support in that. There's an amazing magazine called Positive News that hopefully comes to this area that's just started up, and it's a real important one to get in the local scene. It talks about things like that. And then the last area, the last healing system that I asked about that people were just really ignorant in is our oldest healing system in the world, the African healing system. And I've only been to Southern Africa, but realized that there's 250,000 healers in Southern Africa called Sangomas. Yesterday at our workshop, we had a guy who was there, I don't think he's here today, who actually went and studied with the Sangoma in Africa. It was amazing to have him in our circle. He was quietly a young guy. He was telling me he was getting ready to go to South America, to Argentina, to go study another thing. So it's all, we have so much wisdom. We just need to create the circle and the spaces to have that knowledge transferred. So we've forgotten, and the reason it never got here is because, you know, the story of South Africa is very similar to our story here, except when we got here, we'd sent DeSoto ahead of us, you know, a couple hundred years ahead of us, and 99% of the people died before we got here. So it was easy for us to take over. That didn't happen in Southern Africa, and they fought them the whole step of the way, and it's still 90% native people and 10% Europeans. And so what they did is create two separate societies, and so subtly and not so subtly, the white people that are there have blocked all that knowledge from getting to us. So we need to send healers there because they have answers for AIDS, for cancer, for all sorts of chronic diseases. They have medicines and healing systems that treat that. They're called, like I said, Sangomas. And just see if you can find, this is from South Africa, where there's Western Africa, Northern African, Eastern Africa. I don't know about those. I've only been to 8 of the 60 countries there. So, and I'm starting to get tired. So we need some young energy, some young blood to go see the rest of Africa and tell us, you know, the bigger story with all of that. So